Hello students, once again welcome to a social science class. As we are going through the chapter Outcomes of Democracy, in which in the last class we have dealt with the topics like economic growth and development, then economic outcomes of democracy, and third was reduction of inequality and poverty. My dear students, before we start today's topic, let's recall the topics that we have already done in the previous class. Okay? Now, in economic growth and development, we have seen that a census of 50 years, say from 1950 to 2000, we have seen that in the field of economic development, the dictatorship countries or non-democratic countries have done well as compared to the democratic countries. Means the economic growth was very good in the non-democratic countries as compared to the democratic countries. Now, for economic development, there are many factors responsible for it. One is country's population size. Second is the cooperation from other countries. Then the global situation, and finally the economic priorities adopted by the country. So these all reasons or factors are responsible for economic development. But still, we cannot deny this fact that in dictatorship, the economic growth was good as compared to the democracy. But for this reason, we cannot reject democracy, isn't it? Because there are so many positive outcomes of democracy. So we must try to achieve economic development in democratic countries or in democratic regime as well. Now, this is what we have dealt in the economic growth and development. The next topic was economic outcomes of democracy. In this, you might have seen that there was two tables in your NCERT book, in which it has been shown that the countries like South Africa and Brazil, here 20% of the population, they are rich people and they share near about 60% of the national income, leaving just 3% for the bottom 20% of the population. It means that the rich people, the few people are rich and majority people are in poverty or below poverty line. And these few people, they are becoming rich day by day, and the majority people, those who are poor, they are becoming poorer day by day. So this is also not so good, I mean we can say this is not so nice indication. Then let's see, the third topic was reduction of inequality and poverty. Now here you can see, whereas the democracy guarantees political equality, isn't it? Now, what in democracy is there possibility that if there is any economic growth or good economic development, will democracy would be able to share the wealth equally among the citizens? Is that possible? It's a $1 million question. So here we will see that here, though when we say it, obviously it guarantees political equality, but it is unable to guarantee economic equality. Okay, because there are certain ultra rich people, they share majority, I mean a major portion of national income. But whereas the other people, majority people are poor or below poverty, they are living below poverty line, or they are middle class family. So we can see that even these poor people, they are unable to meet their basic needs like health, education, then food, clothing, house. Even these basic needs also are not being fulfilled. Why? See, like India, like a country where 135 crores of population, and here majority people are middle class or in poverty, or they are living below poverty line. See, these politicians, when they campaign or during election, they give a lot, means they promises a lot, isn't it? And they addresses to the needs and expectations of the poor people. But once this election is being won by them, these people don't they don't fulfill all the needs and expectations of this majority people sincerely and seriously. And that's the reason that why poverty still exists in a country like India. Now, the scenario is most worst in Bangladesh, where half of the population is below poverty or living in poverty. Okay. Now, the situation is more worse in a world where you will see the most of the poor countries, they are solely dependent upon the rich countries for even for the food supplies. So, when you see all these things, it is clear that in the matter of economic development, democracy's result is not so good. But at the same time, we can also say that democracy, it does not mean that democracy is not successful. There is some lacuna, but still there are certain features of democracy that makes this type of government, democratic type of government, a successful government. Okay. Now, I hope whatever we have done in the previous class, we have recalled it and you have understood. Now, let's go to the new topic, that is today's topic. Now, my dear students, today's topic is accommodation of social diversity. It means सामाजिक विविधताओं में सामंजस्य. ठीक है? Here we will discuss, like, for example, do democracy lead to a peaceful and harmonious life among citizens? It will be fair expectation that democracy should produce a harmonious social life. Like you might have seen in the first chapter of your book, where they have dealt with the two cases. One was the case of Belgium and other was the case of Sri Lanka. Now, let's see the case of Belgium. What have you seen in the case of Belgium? That there are certain regions where the majority people speaks German, and there were certain regions where majority they speak French. But now there was a differences. So now what they have done, there was a conflict of interest, of their interest. Now these people, they sat, they negotiated, they discussed, and they try to solve their conflicts or try to solve their differences amicably. So, you can see that in democracy, there is a possibility of to sit and negotiate and try to come with some solution. Okay. So, like you can see, we saw in the first chapter how Belgium has successfully negotiated differences among ethnic populations. Now, democracy usually develop a procedure. Now, you can see procedure to conduct their competition. Now, what happens in democracy? Usually, when such, like in the case of Belgium, you have seen there were so much differences. But the beauty of the democracy is what, it automatically, it gives you the space to resolve the differences. Whereas in other non-democratic countries, you will never get the space to resolve such differences or conflicts. Now, in democracy only, this possibility is there, like in the case of Belgium. Understood? Now, this reduces the possibility of these tensions becoming explosive or violent. In case, if in Belgium, these people would have not resolved their conflict amicably, what would happen? The whole Belgium would have been divided into two, or it would give rise to some kind of civil war or violent conflict, isn't it? But it was not so. because they understand that their country's progress lies in the unity of the people of Belgium, whether they are speaking a German or whether they are speaking in French. So this is what the essence of the democracy. So Belgium, you can see from the first chapter, Belgium's case has successfully they negotiated and they resolved their conflicts very amicably, and they established their government with mutual understanding and giving respect to each other's differences and interests. Understood, my dear students? Now, see, no society can fully and permanently resolve conflicts among different groups. See, it often happens. There may be like in a family. Similarly, like in family, you can see we 5 or 4 members are living in the family. Though we belong to the same family, but still there are certain differences. Okay? But for a healthy going of a family, we need to sit and negotiate and respect each other's feelings and interests. And then only a family could be called as a ideal family, isn't it? The same with the country as well. Any problem cannot be solved so permanently, there could not be any solution to any problem. But at least we can try to solve the problem to some extent. Understood, my dear students? But we can certainly learn to respect these differences, and we can also evolve mechanism to negotiate the differences. Democracy is the best suited to produce this outcome. Whereas in a non-democratic countries, if you go there, like for example, you can see China. Okay, see, I am just giving you the example for your better understanding. Okay, like you can see the China, how these people, they are completely suppressing the people of Hong Kong. So here you can see that a country like China, where there is no democracy, sometime even in their own country, for many reasons, these people often turn blind to the interest of the minority group or to various sections of the society. And they don't give a due importance to the interest of particular section of the society or to the minority. So this is the drawback of the non-democratic regime. Whereas this is not there in our democratic form of government. Okay. Now, non-democratic regime often turn a blind eye or suppress internal social differences. Okay. Ability to handle social differences, divisions and conflict is thus a definite plus point of democratic regime. Okay. Now, but the example of Sri Lanka. Now, I told you about Belgium. Let us see what Sri Lanka's case teaches. Okay, means what they teach us and what they come with the outcome. See, but the example of Sri Lanka reminds us that a democracy must fulfill 2 conditions in order to achieve this outcome. For example, it is necessary to understand that democracy is not simply ruled by majority opinion. When I say democracy, what we feel that a majority, it is a rule of majority. But here you must understand that it is not only the rule of majority. We should also give due respect to the interest of the minority as well. Then only the democracy would be able to represent the general view. And that is the beauty of democracy. Understood, my dear students? Like for example, you see in your class, for example, in your class, there we want to, like for example, you say in your class, there are 5 girls and 15 boys. Okay. So you can see the majority is of the boys and minority, who are the minority? The girls are in minority. Now here, there you have to choose one class representative, CR. Okay. Now, just because the boys in number, they are more in number, it does not mean, it is not necessary that boy should be the CR. Even the girl can also be a CR. And here, there may be a girl who have all the qualities of being a CR. academically, sportive, very disciplined. So that can girl also, that at that situation a girl can also be a CR. Here everybody, means all the students of the class, means they all try to give their vote to one such girl who may be in minority, but still she have the ability to be a CR. So all must try to vote, try to give vote to that girl to become a CR. Then only we can call it as a healthy democracy. Just boys are in number, they are more in number. It does not mean that just because they are more in number, so boys should be a CR. That is not a healthy democracy practice. Understood? Yeah, healthy democratic practice. Are you able to understand what I mean to say? Now see, the majority always needs to work with the minority so that the government function to represent the general view. Just I told you, majority and minority opinions are not permanent. Now, it is also necessary that rule by majority does not become rule by majority community in terms of religion or race or linguistic group, etc. Just because you are more in number, and just because you are more in number, so you constitute a majority, that does not mean that it is democracy. No. In democracy means majority of people should come from different section, different religion, different race or different culture. They all try to vote for a common cause. That is the beauty of democracy. But just because you are more in number, say in respect of religion, in respect of some culture, or in language, in the basis of language, you constitute a majority population and you feel that this is democracy. No, this is not a democracy. Democracy means where majority people, irrespective of their language, community, or say irrespective of their race, religion, when all they come together for a common cause, that is the beauty of the democracy. And that is what we call true democratic regime. Understood, my dear students? Rule by majority means that in case of every decision or in case of every election, different persons and groups, person and group may and can form a majority. Now here democracy means that democracy remains democracy as long as you will see that every citizen gets a chance to be in majority, then only we can call it as a true democracy. Okay? Just one should not be based on the basis of language or on the basis of birth. We should not bear one person to bring him in majority. We should not bear them. Okay? But one should not be bared just on the basis of birth. We should not try to exclude them. Everyone, I mean to say, from all the group, from all the religion, all together, from different sections of the society, maybe from different religion, different caste, all when they come together for a common cause or for the elections, then we call it as a true democracy. Are you able to understand what I told you? Are you able to understand what I said in this topic? That there may be social differences, there may be differences in interest, but still democracy is the only regime where we can negotiate and we can resolve the conflicts, and this is the beauty of democracy. Now let's go to the next topic. So my dear students, the next topic and the last topic of this chapter is dignity and freedom of the citizen. मतलब किसी भी व्यक्ति की गरिमा और आज़ादी, ये दोनों आपको सिर्फ प्रजातांत्रिक व्यवस्था में ही मिल सकता है। अगर आप बात करें तानाशाही में, वहाँ आपको किसी भी व्यक्ति की आज़ादी या गरिमा, ये दोनों ही आपको वहाँ पे नहीं मिलेगी। ओके? सो डेमोक्रेसी स्टैंड्स मच सुपीरियर to any other form of government in promoting dignity and freedom of the individual. Every individual wants to receive respect from fellow beings. Often conflicts arise among the individual because some feel that they are not treated with due respect. हर इंसान चाहता है कि उसकी respect हो, बाकी लोग जो है उनकी respect करें, Okay, so everybody wants to be respected from their fellow beings. And here you will see the passion. Now here you can see the passion for respect and freedom are the basis of democracy. Democracies throughout the world have recognized this, at least in principle. So, in democracy, we try to give due respect to the individual's freedom and individual's dignity. At least not in practice, at least we can think in principle it is written. Okay. Now, this has been achieved in various degrees in various democracies. For societies which have been built for long on the basis of subordination and domination, it is not simple matter to recognize that all individuals are equal. कुछ ऐसे देश हैं, जैसे तानाशाही देशों में आप देख सकते हैं, जहाँ कुछ ऐसे देश हैं जहाँ तानाशाही व्यवस्था है या वहाँ की जो सरकार की तानाशाही प्रणाली है, वहाँ हर इंसान को समानता का अधिकार नहीं ही मिलता, ठीक है। एंड आप वहाँ पे ये भी देख सकते हैं, वो बड़ी आसानी से हर लोगों की समानता का अधिकार हो या उनकी आज़ादी हो या उनकी गरिमा हो, ये सब चीज़ जो है आपको तानाशाही व्यवस्था या प्रणाली में आपको देखने को नहीं मिलेगा। अंडरस्टैंड माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स? नाउ टेक द केस ऑफ डिग्निटी ऑफ विमेन। औरतों को देख लीजिए, ठीक है। मोस्ट सोसाइटीज अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड वेर हिस्टोरिकली मेल डोमिनेटेड। भारत ही नहीं, आप पूरे विश्व में देखें, it is mostly male dominated societies. Long struggles by women have created some sensitivity today, and respect to and equal treatment of women are necessary ingredients of democratic society. पहले ऐसा होता था बच्चों कि औरतों को सिर्फ मतलब they used to think that the women are only born to rear kids and to look after the family. They don't have means they don't have the qualities like male, so there how the women were not given at equal opportunities in those days. Even today in some regions you can say, but now the women have come forward just because today the issue that the women should also be treated equally with the men, that's why most of the women are doing very well and they are success in various fields, isn't it? And that is not came in a day or two. The people, the women especially, they struggled, they fought for it, for the equality, and then only they got these rights. Now, that does not mean that women are actually always treated with respect. But once the principle is recognized, it becomes easier for women to wage a struggle against what is now unacceptable legally and morally. जैसे कि इसका जैसे मैं बोल सकती हूँ कि प्रजातंत्र में अगर औरतों को भी बराबरी का हक दिया जाए तो कम से कम प्रिंसिपल मतलब इन प्रिंसिपल इफ़ यू आर गिविंग इक्वल राइट्स टू वुमेन एटलीस्ट इन प्रिंसिपल they get some sort of motive or they get some sort of strength to fight against the injustice that has been happening with them. So that have a sanction, legal sanction and moral sanction. So at least in democracy, it is in principle in democracy, it is said that all are equal, whether it is male or female. Though it is not in practice, it may not be there, but at least the women have the right to fight against injustice for equality or seeking equality. Understood? For example, Hindu Succession Act. In this you see, जैसे पहले ऐसा होता था कि जब प्रॉपर्टी जो है हिंदू में प्रॉपर्टी जब माता पिता जो है लड़कों को ही प्रॉपर्टी में हिस्सेदार मानते थे और उन्हीं को प्रॉपर्टी उनके जितनी भी जायदाद थी या जो भी प्रॉपर्टी थी वो बेटे को ही मिलता था, बेटी को नहीं मिलता था। वो शादी करके चले जाती थी, उनके प्रॉपर्टी में उनका कोई हक नहीं होता था। लेकिन जब 2005 में ये लॉ पास कर दिया गया कि बेटी को भी बराबरी का हक है अपने पेरेंटल प्रॉपर्टी पर जैसे बेटे को है, तो यहाँ ये कानून बनने के बाद आप देख सकते हैं कि अब अगर मान लीजिए किसी कारणवश लड़की को अगर पेरेंटल प्रॉपर्टी या उनके माता पिता ने प्रॉपर्टी नहीं दी तो भी अब चूंकि लॉ तो है, कानून है, तो वो कम से कम लड़ सकती है. लीगली शी कैन फाइट for seeking property from her parent, isn't it? Now she can ask for the property from her parent, and if they deny, at least she can go to the court for legal fight. So this is what the beauty of the democracy. At least in principle certain law is there, so that it gives strength morally and legally to the women to seek or to ask for the justice. Understood? Now, in a non-democratic setup, this unacceptability would not have legal basis, because the principle of individual freedom and dignity would not have the legal and moral force there. Now, as I told you, here when I talk about the democracy, here at least in principle these things are there. But in a non-democratic regime, not even in principle and in practice, neither in principle nor in practice you could see individual liberty, individual dignity. You can't even think about it. Okay, so here the same is true of caste inequalities and atrocities, but these lack the moral and legal foundation. Perhaps it is the recognition that makes ordinary citizens value their democratic rights. ये सच है कि कभी कभी कास्ट इनइक्वालिटीज़ भी होता है, जाति मतभेद भी होते हैं, लेकिन इस वजह से जो है आप देख सकते हैं जाति मतभेद होने से भी कहीं ना कहीं हम लोगों को आम लोगों को, खासतौर से प्रजातांत्रिक व्यवस्था में आम लोग अपने अधिकारों को लेके बहुत ज़्यादा सचेत हो जाते हैं. दे बिकम अवेयर ऑफ देयर फंडामेंटल राइट्स. सो दैट इज द एसेंस ऑफ द डेमोक्रेसी. नाउ, expectations from democracy also function as a criteria for judging any democratic country. हम प्रजातांत्रिक प्रणाली से उम्मीद कर सकते हैं, और ये उम्मीद ही एक तरीके से निर्णय देता है कि डेमोक्रेसी वाकई में सफल है या असफल है. समझ में आया आपको? What is most distinctive about democracy is that its examination never gets over. मतलब जब आपको ऐसा लगे, मतलब डेमोक्रेसी, प्रजातांत्रिक प्रणाली एक ऐसी प्रणाली है जहाँ पे आपका परीक्षा ख़त्म ही नहीं होता. परीक्षा मतलब यहाँ परीक्षा का मतलब ये नहीं कि बोर्ड एग्ज़ाम, वो नहीं है. परीक्षा माने यहाँ पे जहाँ डेमोक्रेसी में हम कुछ एक्सपेक्टेशंस करते हैं कि हमारी ये उम्मीद पूरी होगी, हमारी ये एक्सपेक्टेशंस पूरी होगी सरकार, डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नमेंट से. तो जैसे जैसे हम कुछ उम्मीद करते हैं और उसे डेमोक्रेसी को और बेहतर करने की कोशिश करते हैं, और ये बेहतर करने से ही डेमोक्रेसी निखर कर आता है. उसकी क्वालिटी या द वैल्यू और यू कैन से द क्वालिटी ऑफ द डेमोक्रेसी, इट इम्प्रूव्स, एंड दैट इज व्हाट द सक्सेस ऑफ democracy. Okay, as democracy passes one test, it produces another test. As people get some benefits of democracy, they ask for more and want to make democracy even better. आप जब ज़्यादा उम्मीद करते हैं और जैसे जैसे आपके एक्सपेक्टेशंस पूरे होते हैं तो आप और ज़्यादा मांगते हो, और यही तो बात है, यही खासियत है डेमोक्रेसी की. जब आप ज़्यादा मांगते हो, आप ज़्यादा एक्सपेक्ट करते हो और डेमोक्रेसी को बेहतर बनाने की कोशिश करते हो, तभी जो है डेमोक्रेसी निखर कर एक क्वालिटी डेमोक्रेसी, एक क्वालिटी गवर्नमेंट जो है आपको मिलता है. समझ में आया बच्चों? That is why when we ask people about the way democracy functions, they will always come with some more expectations and many criticism. So when we are asked about the functions of the democracy to the common people, they often come with some expectation and they come with many complaints. The fact that people are complaining is itself a testimony to the success of democracy. जब लोग कंप्लेन करते हैं कि डेमोक्रेसी में ऐसा है या इसमें, जब वो बहुत कंप्लेंट्स करते हैं, मतलब दैट एक्चुअली इट इज़ अ सक्सेस, दैट इज़ अ टेस्टिमोनी. वो जो है डेमोक्रेसी की सक्सेस को बताता है. इसका ये मतलब है कि लोग कितने सचेत हो गए, हाउ मच द पीपल हैव बिकम अवेयर, एंड दैट्स वाई द पीपल आर कीप क्रिटिसाइजिंग और कीप कंप्लेनिंग. अंडरस्टूड? अगर आपको कुछ पता ही नहीं है, अगर जैसे फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल आप ले लीजिए, क्लास में अगर टीचर और बच्चे दोनों क्लास में है, टीचर पढ़ा रही है, बच्चे अगर कुछ भी ना बोले तो इसका साफ मतलब है कि बच्चे कुछ समझ नहीं रहे और दे आर नॉट टेकिंग इंटरेस्ट. लेकिन अगर बच्चे कुछ सवाल पूछ रहे हैं और टीचर भी उनका जवाब दे रही है तो इससे साफ पता चलता है ये कंप्लेनिंग नहीं है, ये बच्चा डाउट इसलिए पूछ रहा है क्योंकि वो समझने की कोशिश कर रहा है। तो इसका ये मतलब है कि क्लास सक्सेसफुल है। द सेम इज़ विद द डेमोक्रेसी। जब लोग कंप्लेन करते हैं, जब क्रिटिसाइज़ करते हैं, तब गवर्नमेंट को लेके कई चीज़ों को लेके या कई प्रणाली को लेके जब वो क्रिटिसाइज़ करते हैं, इसका ये मतलब है कि डेमोक्रेसी यहाँ पर सक्सेस है, क्योंकि लोगों को पता है, दे आर अवेयर, वो अपने अधिकारों से सचेत हैं, वो जानते हैं कि कैसे गवर्नमेंट फंक्शन कर रहा है, इसीलिए तो वो क्रिटिसाइज़ कर रहे हैं। और इसी को हम बोलते हैं डेमोक्रेसी। ठीक है। So, a public expression of dissatisfaction with democracy shows the success of democratic project. It transforms people from the status of a subject into that of a citizen. सब्जेक्ट से ये जो है आप देखेंगे यहाँ पे एक आम इंसान डेमोक्रेसी में सब्जेक्ट से सिटीजन, ही इज नॉट अ सब्जेक्ट नाउ, ही इज अ सिटीजन। जैसे पहले क्या होता था, राजा है, बाकी प्रजा जो है उनके सब्जेक्ट है, वो जो कह देते हैं दैट इज फाइनल। बट यहाँ अब ऐसा नहीं है। इन डेमोक्रेसी दे आर नॉट सब्जेक्ट, दे आर द सिटीजन्स, मतलब everyone is equal here. Understood? That is what we call democracy. Here the common people are no more subject, rather they are citizen, and most individuals today believe that their vote make a difference to the way the government is run and to their self or to their own self interest. अब ये बहुत लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि उनकी जो एक वोट है वो वाकई में असर करती है, मतलब वाकई में वो गवर्नमेंट फॉर्मेशन या किस तरह से गवर्नमेंट फंक्शन करेगा वो उस पर ज़रूर वो उस पर असर करती है। इसीलिए पीपल स्टार्टेड रेस्पेक्टिंग देयर rights like right to vote, because they feel that right to vote is obviously it makes a difference. Okay, my dear students, have you understood whatever I taught you so far? So my dear students, I hope that whatever I taught you, you have understood very well. I request you all to just go through your book, and this is Deepa Sadha signing off. Goodbye. Jai Hind.